Today we have with us esteemed management team of the company represented by Mr. VP Nandakumar, Managing Director and CEO, Mrs. Bindu AL, CFO, Mr. Raja Vaidyanathan, Managing Director, Ashirwad Microfinance Limited, Mr. Jeevan Das Narayan, Managing Director, Manappuram Home Finance Limited, Mr. Senthil Kumar, Head Vehicle and Equipment Finance, Mr. Salil Bava, Head Investor Relations. I now hand over the conference call to Salil for further commentary. Thank you.
Thank you, Shweta. Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining us on the Q1 FY21 results. During the call, we will be referring to the Q1 FY21 investor presentation uploaded to the exchange and also on our website. Before we begin, I would like to state that some of the statements in today's discussions may be forward-looking in nature and may involve certain risks and uncertainties. A detailed statement in this regard is available on the results documents shared with you earlier. With that, I would now like to invite Mr. Nandakumarji to begin the proceedings of the call. Thank you.
Thanks, Salil. Good evening, all of you, and thanks for joining the call. I hope you and family are fine. As the world continues to grapple with the unprecedented pandemic, global economic prospects continue to remain uncertain. The COVID crisis in India also continues to worsen. Inevitably, this will result in multiple challenges across almost every sector of the economy and lead to weaker economic and consumer confidence. Governments and central bank have responded with a broad spectrum of countermeasures. Economic activity has gradually improved, helped in the near term by the calibrated unlocking of restrictions. The agricultural and rural picture appears to be relatively brighter, with good sowing and a normal monsoon, limited COVID disruptions, as well as rural-focused government stimulus. This would promote a gradual pickup in the economy. The rural economy seems to have been relatively isolated from the virus. Also, expectations of income boost going forward as summer crop is harvested. Ministry of Home Affairs allowed NBFCs to open branches in green and orange zones from April 20th, 2020. Over the next few weeks, we started reopening our branches after ensuring health and safety of our customers and employees. As of the end of June, our offices and branches are almost fully functional, barring those locations which are under lockdown as per state or district guidelines. In response to the COVID-19 situation, we have fine-tuned our collection strategy and launched various initiatives to ensure we are well prepared and among the earliest to capitalize on the opportunities. We have used the initial weeks of lockdown to significantly expand our collections capacity model, so that when markets start to open, whether it is green, orange or red, we are ready to rapidly move and engage with our clients to collect efficiently and effectively across different businesses. We have also ramped up our digital collections infrastructure and capabilities, and we continue to maintain our strong positioning in online gold space. The digital channels helped us serve our customers during the COVID period. The company is comfortably placed in the matter of liquidity to meet its commitments. It has also implemented stringent cost control measures across the organization to conserve cash and to address any evolving situation resulting from the pandemic. On the liquidity front, we continue to receive funds from all the routes. CP rollovers are continuing, and we are getting funds from our banks and AMC partners. The company's gold loan portfolio accounted for nearly 70% of the total portfolio, has a tenure of less than 3 months, where most of the company's borrowings are of long-term nature, providing a natural hedge against the short-term liquidity mismatches. Coming to our Q1 results, the quarter had an impact of COVID-19 lockdown. Some of the key performance highlights for Q1 FY21 are as follows. Our consolidated AUM has crossed 25,346 crores. Consolidated AUM is up by 25.6% year on year and 0.5% quarter on quarter. 2. Gold loan AUM grew by 33.4% on a year-on-year basis and 4.5% on a sequential basis. This growth was driven by a combination of increase in gold holding, which grew by 1% year on year, and higher gold prices. Online gold loan customers and digital payments up by 1.2 multiples Q on Q in Q1 FY21. At the portfolio level, our average LTV is at 57% against the RBI limit of 75%, which means most of the customers have a lot of room to borrow more against their excessive ledgers. Our microfinance subsidiary, Ashirwad Microfinance, reported an AUM of 5,038 crores, an increase of 20% year on year, and a decline of 8.4% quarter on quarter. The strategy focused on quality going forward. We expect some short-term pains in our microfinance portfolio after the moratorium. However, based on our experience in dealing with the episodes of stress in the segment, we are much more positive about the medium and long term. India's automobile sector has been facing a slowdown for the last 1 year or so, and our commercial vehicle finance business saw higher GNPAs aggregated by the lockdown. Our housing portfolio is relatively small, and it has been steady in terms of asset quality. During the quarter, the company cautiously chose to reduce its on-lending portfolio to NBFCs. We do not expect any funding challenges to come in the way of our growth plans, and we are comfortably placed with our AUM, which we monitor very closely. Our overall OPEX to AUM has come down from 6.8% in Q4 FY20 to 5.4% in Q1 FY21. We have now set up a committee that will focus exclusively on optimizing costs and bring down the operating expenses further by looking at the areas besides the security costs. Finally, we are reporting a consolidated quarterly net profit of 368 crores for Q1 FY21. Thank you, and now it is over to our CFO, Bindu, for a detailed look at the numbers.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you all for attending the quarterly update call. I will quickly take you through the impact of COVID. A good part of the quarter was lost to lockdown, and with public transport was not functioning in most of the parts, customer footfalls at the branches were low. Therefore, the growth came mostly from the existing customers who also benefited from the increased LTV driven by the increased gold prices. Tonnage growth was muted during the quarter due to higher LTV and lower demand due to slowness in the economy. The company has taken several measures to deal with the impact of COVID, including liquidity management, reduction in operating costs, and the focus on digital channels. We have ensured adequate liquidity across each entity within the group. With respect to liquidity, cash and cash equivalents on hand on a consolidated basis was rupees 5,006 crore at the end of June, and undrawn bank line was rupees 1,019 crore. We consciously brought down our CP exposure to 9% against 23% a year ago, and this helped us in increasing the average duration of our liabilities to 452 days from 260 days a year ago. The company has made progress on its cost optimization initiatives, with OPEX ratio reducing from 6.76% of AUM during the previous quarter to 5.35% of AUM on standalone basis in the current quarter. Our focus on collection for the non-gold businesses and the gold loan business growth. This has resulted in the new businesses contributing 30% of consolidated AUM and remaining 70% from gold loan. There was no moratorium on gold loan book, and on an average 26% of non-gold businesses were under moratorium in the standalone entity in phase 1. Let me take you through the earnings update. Our consolidated AUM for Q1 was rupees 25,346 crore, up by 25.6% year-on-year and 0.5% Q-on-Q. Consolidated profit after tax was rupees 367.97 crore, grew by 37.9% year-on-year. During the quarter, MTM valuation on derivative asset of dollar bonds resulted into a reduction of rupees 35 crore in other comprehensive income, and our exposure is fully hedged and no impact on P&L account. ROE on a consolidated basis was 25% and ROA was 4.8% for the quarter ended June 2020. Talking about the gold loan business, which constitutes 70% of consolidated AUM increased by 33.4% year-on-year and 4.5% Q-on-Q. Gold holdings stood at 69.03 tons. Gold tonnage increased by 1% year-on-year but was down by 4.65% Q-on-Q due to the lockdown and high LTV and the low economic activities. Gold loan average ticket size and average duration were rupees 42,563 and 51 days respectively. The total number of gold loan customers stood at 24.95 lakhs. The gold loan book at rupees 17,737 crore. Auctions during the quarter were rupees 1.04 crore. Most of the customers serviced their loan despite the lockdown, and the loan pending for auction was only rupees 97 crore as on date. Our weighted average LTV stands at rupees 2,571 per gram or 57% of current gold price. Our gold loan disbursements during the quarter at rupees 68,390 crore compared to rupees 51,913 crore in Q4 FY20. Online gold loan book accounts for 63% of total gold loan compared to 48% in Q4 FY20. About microfinance business, AUM stands at rupees 5,038 crore and the business reported a small loss of rupees 2.6 crore due to higher provisioning. We have provided rupees 75 crore additional provision during Q1 FY21 due to COVID, and cumulative COVID provision was rupees 130 crore at the end of the quarter. Majority of MFI customers opted for moratorium in phase 1, April and May. In phase 2, our collection efficiency from MFI business was at 55% in June, and we expect collection efficiency to be nearly 70% in July. The company has a capital adequacy ratio of 26.9%. Coming to vehicle finance business, reported an AUM of rupees 1,270 crore, which is down by 5.5% Q-on-Q and up by 3.5% year-on-year. 37% of customers opted for moratorium in phase 1. Collection efficiency was 42%, 58% in April and May respectively. Collection efficiency expected at improved to 75% in June. The home loan business had a total book of rupees 627.3 crore, which is down by 0.4% Q-on-Q and up by 15.8% year-on-year. It now operates from 47 branches and reported a profit of rupees 80 lakhs during Q1 FY21. 32.4% of housing finance book was under moratorium in phase 1. Loan to NBFCs, our portfolio reduced by 15.5% Q-on-Q to rupees 468 crore in line with our cautious outlook. We did not disburse any loan during the quarter. Only 2 clients were under moratorium out of 49 borrowers, with total loan outstanding with these 2 customers being only rupees 6 crore. Loan to SME and others stood at rupees 205 crore. The total consolidated borrowings stood at rupees 23,980 crore. Our standalone average cost of fund has decreased by 7 basis points to 9.39% from 9.46%. In Q1, we have raised fresh borrowing of rupees 1,900 crore. As on date, the standalone entity, we are having nearly 4,235 crore liquidity, out of which rupees 2,625 crores in the form of bank fixed deposit and rupees 1,610 crore as undrawn lines. Provisions and write-offs of the standalone entity during the quarter at rupees 50 crore. We provided 38 crore additional provision due to COVID-19. Our gross NPAs was 1.25% as compared to 0.88% at the end of Q4 FY20, largely driven by the non-gold businesses. Our capital position is strong and the company is well capitalized with a capital adequacy ratio of 22.94%. Company's consolidated net worth stands at rupees 6,036 crore. The book value per share stood at rupees 71.4. Thank you. We can now go for the Q&A session.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1. The first question is from the line of Shubhranshu Mishra from BOB Capital Markets. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. I just wanted to check on the moratorium as of June for each of the businesses, if I can be updated on the same. That's the first question. Second is if the same can be said about the collections. What are the collection trends in each of the businesses, vehicle finance, home finance and MFI, as of maybe 15th of July and as of 30th of June? And if we have to look at the provisioning going forward for the vehicle finance, which is done on the standalone book, and microfinance, how do we look at the provisioning going forward? These are the 3 questions.
Mr. Rajya.
So on microfinance, good evening to everybody. On microfinance, the collections have increased significantly from the last month. In June, it was 55%. Now we are inching towards 70% as we speak, as of yesterday. So still, the balance is on moratorium, which ends in August 31st. So we feel that once the moratorium is over, we will slowly move back to the original levels of collection efficiency towards the last quarter of this year, which is well above 95% or so. So that's on the microfinance thing. On provisioning, as Bindu had mentioned, we have already provided this quarter another 75 crores of COVID provisioning, and we did close to 55 last quarter. So we have 130 crores of provisioning. This is over and above the standard provisions we have and the ECL provisioning we have. So as it stands and based on the information available, we feel that we have adequately provided for the non-performing, if any.
What was the moratorium you said, sir, for as of...
The moratorium in April was all of them took the moratorium in April. Then 85% was in May. Then it came down to about 45% in June, and now as we speak, it is hovering between 25% or so, 25 to 30% in July end.
Thank you. The rest of the question?
Senthil?
Hi, yes, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
See, in terms of collection percentage, as Mr. Bindu had mentioned earlier, in the month of April, we had a collection efficiency of around 42%. And in the month of May, we had a collection efficiency of around 58%. June, collection efficiency, this is vehicle finance.
Right.
Yeah, and in the month of June, we had an efficiency of around 75%. And July, we hope to close around 85%. It's what the efficiency which you're planning. We had, sir had mentioned some time back, we had an early mover advantage in terms of collections where in spite of we having a lockdown in the month of April, I think we had started building our relationship with the customers once again. And we had also moved into a bit of, digital platforms for collection. Though, even though the physical movements were restricted, we were able to build on that initial momentum in a good way over the period of last 2-3 months. And in terms of provisions, I think we adequately provisioned. As of now, we have around 90 crores of provision of for vehicle finance as a whole. And I think we are provisioned. We are adequately provisioned for the next quarter also.
Sure, thank you. And the same for HFC and...
Mr. Joseph?
Good evening. Good evening, sir. Good evening, all the participants. On the three critical points you raised, I'll come to collections first. April, our collection on the book was 50% plus. May, it was 60% plus. And in June, we closed about 76%. This month, we already crossed 77%, and we hope to touch 85 plus. That is as far as the collection efficiency is concerned. And as far as the provisioning is concerned, the provision done we also followed a policy in line with the parent of very aggressive provisioning due to the COVID uncertainties. So the first quarter provision is much higher than the entire provision for the last financial year. Coming to the third point of moratorium, in the first phase, as the Group CFO also mentioned in the presentation, this was around 32.83, but this was not for all 3 months. Many of them were for 2 months, some of them were for 1 month, and a few of them were for 3 months. And there also collections have started happening after that date in the moratorium accounts.
The moratorium.
Sure.
Yeah, these are on the entire collections. Percentage is based on the entire portfolio, including moratorium portfolio.
Right.
Yeah, the moratorium portfolio is not separated. Whatever collection percentage is reported is on the entire portfolio.
Yes, and if you exclude that, these percentages will look much higher.
Sure. And just one data keeping question. What was the accrued interest as of the first quarter?
492 crore, that is 2.7% on AUM.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pratik Agarwal from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I have a few questions, but before that, just to clarify, you are saying you are well provided for after this quarter, and from next quarter you should expect provision to be usual and not enhanced?
See, there are uncertainties as each of the business heads explained. I think we will have a better picture after the second phase of moratorium only. Still, many customers in MFI was talking about the moratorium. So there are uncertainties and the issue not yet settled. So for the time being, based on the collection efficiency, we believe that this provision is enough.
Okay. For housing finance and vehicle business, what percentage of GNPA has been provided for separately?
So vehicle, if we it was stage 3 at 10% and housing at 5%.
Yeah, so that is GNPA. How much of that has been provided for? So what is NNPA for both the business?
So that
Should I answer that?
Yeah, can I?
Yeah, hi Pratik.
Hi.
See, the gross NPA was 5.1 and the net NPA as of 30th June is 3.9.
5.1 and 3.9 for?
For the housing finance.
Okay. And for vehicle, sir?
For vehicle finance, net NPA will be around 4%. We have provided around 6%.
Okay, understood. Thirdly, has the growth in gold tonnage restarted?
Yeah, the growth, tonnage has come down during the first quarter. It has come down by 4.5% now, tonnage. The reason is, we have grown in volume by around 4.5%. This is the first quarter. The reason is, when the average life of the loan is around 50 days. And there are many customers who come repeatedly during the same month, for 5 days, 10 days, etc., etc. If he avails 10,000 rupees, when he comes for the second time, he brings a lower quantity of gold only, because his requirement is only 10,000 rupees. The impression that when the gold price goes up, the people borrow more is wrong, because for them this is very important. This gold is so much sentimentally attached to the family. So when they borrow, they make sure they have to redeem within a short time, and they borrow only that much. So that's why when the gold price goes up, the tonnage growth is less. When the gold price goes up unusually high, there used to be some tonnage degrowth also. The opposite will happen when the gold price goes down.
Sir, understood. I was asking quarter 2 trend has now, after the quarter 1, now that moratoriums are ending, economy is opening up, are you seeing increase in gold tonnage again, or even quarter 2 now it's too early to look at gold tonnage increase?
No. The demand, overall demand is less by around 20-25% is down. The demand is down by 25%. Another thing, around 10% of the branches are only working partially. They are not able to, because lot of disruptions here and there, etc., etc. So that's why we are not able to get good growth. And another thing, we used to get seasonal growths like academic seasons, etc., etc. Since the academic seasons have not really started, to schools and colleges have not reopened, so that demand is also less. and the other functions are not happening, marriages are not happening. All these are affecting the demand. So when the lockdown is completely lifted across the country, the demands will definitely pick up.
Sure, sir. Sir, lastly, in Ashirvad, have we stopped lending or we are continuing to lend?
Mr. Raja.
Yeah, we had not lent for the first quarter. In July we have started. I think in July we should do about 70 to 75 crores of disbursement. And slowly, we are lending only to our own customers now. We are not taking new customers. Customers who have completed 1 or 2 cycles, only to them we are lending. We are lending cautiously, but we started only in July. In the first quarter, we had not lent to any of the customers.
Okay, understood. Just one more thing. What is this net gain on fair value change? It was high in quarter 4 and dropped by 100 crores in quarter 1. Is this on some mutual fund investments?
Yeah.
No, this is the... Okay, Bindu, you want to explain?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you are talking about the other comprehensive income, there is a debit of 35 crores due to our MTM valuation of the dollar bonds.
Oh, okay. Understood. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhaval Gada from DSP Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Just a few questions. First, sir, on the microfinance business, what percentage of the customers have not paid you even one installment over the last 4 months? So that is the first question. Second question relates to the vehicle finance portfolio. So you said that you expect things to be 85%. So when do you see normalcy return, and what is the current moratorium percentage? Morat 1 was 37%. Where are we today? And the third bit is related to the housing portfolio. Again, you mentioned about 85% kind of collection expectation. When should we expect normalcy to return? And what is the current morat percentage as of whatever last date you have available? And lastly, on borrowing side, what is the duration change of the borrowing portfolio now versus maybe December period? Just trying to understand the delta increase in duration of the borrowings vis-a-vis the change in cost. Yeah, thanks.
Mr. Raja?
Yeah, on the question on unpaid customers, we have a borrowing base of 24 lakhs now, and out of which in April nearly 58,000 paid, and in May about 4.3 lakh people paid, then 13.7 lakhs paid in June, and as we speak in July about 17 lakhs people have paid till yesterday. So we have about 6 to 7 lakh people who have not paid, but again the moratorium is still on. And these are the people who are coming under the 20. I said in the beginning that we still have about 25% of moratorium going. So these are the customers who are falling under that. So we have collected up to nearly 17 lakh customers so far. So the balance is on.
This is June or July, sir? Sorry, I missed that. It is July, you said? 17 lakh?
So July 7. June was about 13.7 lakh customers.
13%. Okay. Got it. And you expect normalcy to return by what point?
We will expect after August 31st. I think the September is a key month for us. By I think the end of September, the second quarter, Q3 for October, December, I think we should complete. We'll be back to normalcy in most of the places.
And the reason the rest of the customers are not paying today is because of income?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. The reason is still there are. We are present in about 316 districts. In 54 districts, still there is an impact of all this, restrictive movements, lockdowns. About 26,000 centers out of 2 lakh centers, we are still unable to, really collect the money. These are the reasons mainly. It's not the intention of the customers.
Okay. Senthil, about moratorium.
Yes, sir. In the phase 1, in vehicle finance, we had around 37% of the customers who had opted for moratorium. In phase 2, though, we have been getting requests, we have been convincing the customers as to not to avail of moratorium. So as of now, we don't have many customers in moratorium. I don't see any customers in moratorium as of now. So probably we'll have to see as to how things develop over a period of next 1.5 months. We've been convincing customers, we're not talking to them about the interest rate charged in terms of moratorium, and we've been convincing them to pay them. And in terms of collection, as you said, we're expecting around 85% of collection efficiency in July. And this probably we progressively expect to go up by 5-10% by end of this quarter, by September. And I feel for normalcy to return to pre-COVID levels, probably we expect only in the last quarter I feel that the normalcy will return. There's a lot of uncertainty as of now. Though the vehicles have started flying, if I don't think the utilization is 100% as of now. Probably the utilization around 65% is what as of now. So probably it might take 3-4 months or 4-5 months for normalcy to return. So collections are expected to be normal to the pre-COVID levels in the last quarter.
Sir, sorry, just one technical question. If you were to achieve 85% in the month of July and 10% is NPA, so the balance is the only pool, or this 85 excludes NPA?
See, this 85 would be excluding NPA, because I think that's a different ball game altogether.
Understood. Okay. And the same question on unique customers who have not paid so far, that is 15%?
Yes, Sendil, the 85% which you talked about is on the total billing. This includes NPA billing also, right?
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, I missed a bit. Yeah, it includes the moratorium portfolio. It includes the total entire billing, entire billing for the month.
So 85% collection is on the entire portfolio.
Understood, sir. So 85 on the entire portfolio, 10% is hard bucket, which is NPA, and then the balance is in between.
Yes,
correct.
You're right.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah. And in terms of customers who have not paid, in terms of absolute numbers, we have a two-wheeler portfolio, so the numbers are looking slightly large. We have around 12% of our customer base who have not paid in the last 3 months. But out of which we have around we have around 30% of our customers, 30% of the customers who availed moratorium. So I don't expect a huge challenge in this. Probably in the next 15-20 days, a month, I'm sure we'll be able to collect the EMIs from them. And as I said, we don't have a second phase of moratorium, so I think we'll be able to convince them to pay the EMIs.
So this 12% by volume will be value-wise what? How much? Value-wise?
This, value-wise, it will come to something around 200 crores. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, and this housing, thank you. Yeah. Should I answer for the housing part, sir?
Yeah, please.
There are 3 things you asked. First one was about, I'll take the not collected 3 months stuff, which we are actually separately tracking as well. So in fact, at the beginning of the month around, it was 18.5%. And through constant tracking, this has come down to 11% as of now. Okay, that means in terms of value, we collected around 36%. In terms of number of customers, around 40%. That is as far as the pool where 3 months EMI could not be collected. Secondly, you mentioned about the return to normalcy. Now, I would look at it in 2 ways. One is, of course, as far as the income generation is concerned, because, SENP segment, depending on the start of the businesses, some localized district-wise, wherever businesses are closed on account of lockdowns and all that, those challenges will continue and will depend to a large extent on when normalcy gets restored at these places. But nevertheless, our people are moving. And second challenge is mostly in terms of actually going and collecting because of the restrictions on movement in many places. There what we have done is over a period of time, we have introduced some payment apps and we are trying to digitize. Because earlier, pre-COVID days, our check bounce being around 12% to 13%. 87% of the book used to be collected through NACH clearances or checks. But now it has come down on account of this. That's why the collection efficiency needs to be improved in terms of either digitization or movement. So on the ground, because already we have, last month we crossed 77%. We expect to do 85%. Going forward, I think it will only be further improvement from these points.
Yeah, on the borrowing profile up to Q3 of last year, our liability tenure was around 260 to 70 days. Q4 of last year, we did a lot of fundraise, long-term fundraise. That has helped us in improving the liability tenure. So as on 30th June, it is at 452 days, and as on 31st March, it was 448 days. So from 23% of CP level, we have come down to 9% CP. So the borrowing cost, Q3 we were at 9.12, and there was an increase of 34 basis points in Q4, and during the quarter, it has come down by 7 basis points.
Understood. Thank you, ma'am, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants in the conference, please limit your questions to one per participant. Should you have a follow-up question, we would request you to rejoin the question queue. The next question is from the line of Jiten Doshi from Enam Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, sir, and congratulations of putting up a good results in a very challenging environment. My question pertains to little bit in the medium to long term. What do you think is the sustainable growth rate, and what are your thought processes after this, witnessing this behavior of your clients? How are you looking at remodeling the business across all your segments?
See, in the medium to long term growth expectation is around a CAGR of 20%. That's the expectation on a consolidated portfolio. But this year, I don't expect more than 10-12%, because I feel gold loan we may grow by 10-12%. That will be the growth. The growth will be mostly from gold loan. The other segments, even though the dispersals could have already started, it will be very slow. There will be a decline in the portfolio because of the recovery. So on a sustainable basis, on a medium to long term, this is what we were able to achieve also. And achieving normalcy, we hope that we'll be able to maintain the growth rate of 20%.
And my second question pertains to
modeling. See, modeling also.
Right.
I hope towards the end of this year, around 78 to 80% will be gold loan in the consolidated portfolio. That is what I hope. Judging from the current growth trend, this is my expectation. But
sure.
But the situation's back to normal. Yes, the other segments also will grow healthy. So our overall objective of diversifying the portfolio, there may not be much change.
Okay.
That means around 20% of the console in the long term could
sure.
be against mortgages, which includes home loans. So
sure.
all micro credit only, in the sense that even our focus is more on micro housing.
Sure. And so one of the things we are seeing and witnessing.
Sorry to interrupt you. This is the operator. May we request that you return to the question queue?
So my first question has not been answered. I'm still on the first one. So where is the question of returning to the call, my dear?
Yeah. So the second part will be against a major part of 15% will be secured against vehicles, etc., etc. So a major part of the portfolio will be secured in the non-gold also. So at the consolidated level, the unsecured microfinance portfolio will not be growing more than 15%.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, sir. Wishing you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shubham Agarwal from Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Actually, thank you for taking my question. I had two quick questions. A, could you tell us about the progression of the ex-gold moratorium part in different broken down by categories, though? What microfinance was like in April and how it progressed, what vehicle finance was like, and so on. And this B, you mentioned that your operating expense as a percentage of assets has come down. I guess there was no operating leverage in this quarter because some branches must not be functional. So could you please break that down for us and just give us your more medium-term outlook on where you see this number trending?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So, yeah, Mr. Rajya, microfinance.
Yeah. So on microfinance, we had already explained this last. On the moratorium, the moratorium is coming down drastically from a level of 95-98%. Now we are down to about 20-25%, and we feel once the August is over, even that is not going to be there. So it is clearly on a declining trend and in line with our expectations.
And in terms of vehicle finance, as I said earlier, we have around 37% of our portfolio of our customers are opted for moratorium in the first phase. In case we don't have any customers as of now who have opted for moratorium, we've been convincing customers to pay up the EMIs.
Okay, so this 26% that is remaining is almost all microfinance.
Yeah. HFC. Mr. Jyota.
Yes, sir. See, as far as the moratorium is concerned, as I mentioned earlier, the 32.83% was the moratorium book. And in fact, as I mentioned, all these customers are not those who have opted for 3-month moratorium. There are some in this category who have opted for 2 months, some for 3 months. In fact, a very small portion of this only opted for 3 months. Okay? And in June, we had extended to another 5% customers moratorium. So in this also, the collections have started happening now, and going forward, we believe this will only improve with the more relaxations and the COVID scenario, trying to create a new normal and things like that happening, and things and normalcy returning fast in various centers. The collections in these accounts will only improve going forward.
Yeah, regarding OPEX to AUM, it has come down from 6.8% in Q4 to 5.4% in Q1 FY21. The major attributes are there was a reduction. We got some waivers in the rental in many cases, and also the employee cost also was lower during this lockdown period. So about the sustainability at this level, we are expecting growth in gold loan. So and because of this our online gold loan, there is no additional manpower requirement at the gold loan branches. With more growth in the AUM, I think it will come down from 6.8% in Q4 towards the end of this year. I believe that it will stabilize somewhere around 6%.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Alpesh Mehta from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, sir, and congrats for the good set of numbers. First question is, as far as your collection efficiency is concerned, how do you define that as a numerator and denominator? Is just the month billing or the collection for the previous months are also included?
So what we have told that about 70% and 85% collection, etc., is on the entire portfolio, which including portfolio under moratorium or NPA, everything.
Yeah, I get that point. It's just that assuming for the June month you had 100 rupees to be collected from a June month billing perspective, but in the numerator, do you also include the payments received for the April and May month as well for for calculating the percentages?
No, you want the separate monthly billing collection and arrear collection. This is what you intend.
Yeah. Basically, my point was: are the arrear collections also included while reporting the collection?
Month on month, I can tell you, April, in home finance, it was the billing collection during the month was 48%, and total and with overdue collection, it was 49%. And May, it was billing collection during the month of May was 56%. And another 4% was against overdue. So the total comes to around 60%. So June billing collection was 70%, and against overdue it was 6%, totally 76%. And Q1 against billing, that collection during the 3 months of billing, it was 58%, and 4% was the IGR collection, overdue collection, and total collection is 62%. In the month of May, 2 days, yes, the collection is 70% against the monthly billing. In July. And overdue is 3%. So 73%, which during the last few days, we hope it will touch the overall 80 to 85%, around 85%. That's the thing. Against CV, the details are like this. Against billing collection April 33%, and overdue collection was 3%. So the total was 36%. May 44% was the billing collection for May, and overdue was 10%. Around total 54%. In June, it was 63% billing collection and 9% overdue. It is 72. So total quarter 46% is the billing collection, and 7% is the overdue, total 53. Up to 26th of July, it is 53% is the billing collection, and 11% is the IDR collection, amounting a percentage of 64. We expect that to come to around nearly 80%, 80 to 85% during the last few days, around 85%. That's the rate. So this is the collection.
And if you can also throw light on the MFI book in terms of collection.
MFI also I can tell you. Against billing in April, the collections there was only 2.32% against overdue. May collection also it was 17%, which includes billing plus overdue, and in June against billing it was 44%, and against overdue it was 4%, so it is 48%. And Q1 total, because most of the portfolio was under moratorium, so Q1 total against the billing we have collected 15%, and idea collection another 8%, totaling to around 23%. July scenario is 50% is the billing collection, and so far overdue collection is 5.8%. So it is improving too, and we hope it will touch around 70%. This is the billing plus overdue collection scenario.
Great, got it. And sir, just last question on the tonnage.
This is the operator. May we request that you return to the question queue for follow-up questions? We have participants waiting for their turn.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Murarka from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good evening. Thank you for taking my question. So, sir, two updates on each of the two sectors, gold loan and MFI. So, in gold loan, do you see a lot of aggression from, let's say, banks and other NBFCs in your area of operation?
See,
is that the reason for the
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Murarka. Your line, the audio is breaking, sir, from your line.
So can I answer?
Yes.
Yeah, gold loan, I don't see an aggression from the peers as well as from the banks. I don't see that. But I see a slowness in the demand. Because the sectors we are catering to, like requirement for education during the academic seasons, then and other used for other festivals, etc., etc. As the demand, overall demand has come down, and around 10% of our branches are still have not started full functioning. That slackness is there. Otherwise, there is no. I don't see any aggression.
Are you seeing your competitors disbursing a lot or acquiring new customers, or generally they are also following the same strategy of disbursing to their own customers? If you could shed some light on that.
Yeah, on MFI, I'll tell you, we are okay.
It is similar in gold loan. I don't see any aggression. See, when you look at the portfolio growth, you should also look at the NPA. We have maintained our NPA in gold loan at around 0.5%.
Right.
Yeah, which you should appreciate. Yeah.
No, of course. And sir, on MFI?
Yeah, MFI.
So on MFI, most of the competition is following the same, more on the same pattern. But there are some MFIs who are giving what are called this emergency loans and top-up loans more for, adjusting the interest, moratorium interest and the EMIs. And Ashirvad has never done that earlier, and we don't do that. We are just giving the loans, direct loans to our own customers. 100 crores was the total disbursement in the sector last month, in the whole of June. So it is, I think, which means that nobody is really disbursing. Only now, I think, this quarter, the July and August, we have started. The larger MFIs have started, and we are all very cautiously doing this.
This 100 crore is what, sir? 100 crore is for who?
Total disbursement by all the MFIs put together was the total disbursement was in June.
In which market?
The All India market.
Okay, this is all India. Okay. So that's just 100 crores.
Yeah, very less. Which is not the original loans. Which is more as a top-up loans and emergency loans given. So.
Got it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraint, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to Ms. Shweta Daptardar for closing comments.
Thank you, Faizan. On behalf of Prabhudas Lilladher, I thank Manappuram Finance Management for the opportunity. Thank you all.
Thank you.